Good morning, good evening, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you might be doing. We wish to welcome you to the Silverlight Show. The Silverlight shines to illuminate that which lies hidden in darkness. For those of you tuning in today, we welcome you in. I guess it's been 6 months. Time to update my predictions. Remember I said that March would be a time of growth? Well, the Baltic Dry never lies, and March is a plateau. And then there's another steep drop off until June, July, and then August starts to pick up and really picks up going towards September. So it looks like year end will be good for the economy. So what does this mean for you? As far as jobs go, the employment rate in my area decreased by 0.1% because we had so many people coming into our area. I don't want to call it immigration because I live in one of the most populated areas in the world. So it's not really immigrant. I guess you could call it economic immigration, but they're coming where the jobs are because things are kind of crap at the moment. My prediction for March was not false. I just didn't expect the plateau and the steep drop off afterwards. The other thing you have to realize is it takes times for companies to decide to hire anybody, not just a month, it has to be 2 or 3 months. They get more orders in all of a sudden, they're gonna go to their interns, they're gonna go to their factory floor and say, hey, everybody's quota just went up. You need some overtime, we're gonna do that. Because to train somebody, first of all, you got to find somebody who's willing to be there and to do whatever you have. Companies don't like job hoppers, even though, in my opinion, it's your right to hop jobs. This isn't 1984 where you're basically choosing where to retire. This is 2024 where you're hoping this place makes it to the end of the year. And it doesn't matter whether you're one of the banks or whether you're serving hot dogs on a corner somewhere. No offense to any hot dog vendors out there. It's a hard job and I got respect for you. But the problem is the economy really needs about 3 months of growth before they start hiring anybody. So September, October you might start seeing jobs coming back, at least if the current curve keeps going. But then we're going to get another year end, and everybody knows the year end is coming. And you get all that income and all that business coming from retail stores, from transportation, all that, and it falls off like a brick. 2024 looks like a dud economically. I wouldn't recommend you do too much job hopping. I mean, if you have to, if your boss is you know what, or if you need to relocate for other reasons, absolutely no judgment there. But the economy just does not look healthy this year at all. With some luck, we're going to see some real estate prices drop. That's harsh for me to say, and I hope they don't drop too much, but enough so that houses become in the realm of affordability for the average person. A lot of the houses being bought up are being bought out by slumlords, by developers, and the kind of people you don't want to be neighbors with. Not that they're not good people trying to do a good thing, although there's a lot of them that aren't, but there's a lot that do try to provide a valuable service. And these houses are ridiculously overpriced. Again, I don't want to see too much of a correction because a lot of people would be underwater without losing much more than 10%. And I realize that people are not going to keep a mortgage if they bought at 900 and the house is worth 600. Fortunately, I bought mine well below that because I took advantage of the 2008 crisis and bought my house a little bit after that when everything had settled down. Didn't get the perfect deal, but I got a pretty darn good deal by today's standards. Now, where are we going with this from here? If 2024 is going to be an economic bomb, how can you turn this to your advantage? Answer is you can't. There's ways to do it. Perhaps you have a particularly good financial advisor. Perhaps you got that one in a thousand person that knows where to move into the penny stocks and the gold stocks and, you know, all that kind of thing. Or maybe you lock yourself into whatever you're getting and pray that nothing changes. But again, I'm not seeing a whole lot of companies hiring for the next few months at least. I'm just not seeing growth opportunities for at least until September. Because like I said, companies got to realize, hey, we've had a couple months where business is increasing, so we can afford to take a month. I always say it takes 6 months to really train anybody. Because no matter who you are, let's say you're a doctor, okay? Medical doctor. You buy into a private practice clinic. Perfectly good doctor, got straight A's, graduated cum laude, and you're still going to take a few months to get into the ebb and the flow of what you can do with your patient, what you can't, the clinic's expectations, and how you want to work the system. Let's say you're a machinist, or better yet, how about a straight manufacturer? Gone are the days where you're just, one person hammers a nail in, the next person puts a screw in, like Charlie Chaplin in his movie. Oh my goodness, what was that movie? One of his earlier ones anyways. It's quite comical because he predicts a lot of stuff that would continue. But then again, it wasn't really prediction because it was happening in his time. Machines have taken a lot of that over, so now it's monitoring. Okay, every time that my barrel of screws gets halfway done, I need to refill that from stocks, but it's busy that day, and you're being told you need to up your quota because it's June, and even though they've got this idea that more money's coming in, you don't have any extra employees, so you've got to get all that work done in your 8-hour shift, and you're thinking, I don't have time to go change the drum out right now, so let me click the override button and let it go, and by the time it's down to a third, I should be able to grab it then. Comes down to a third. I don't have time to switch the drum out. Let me go, let me do that at the end of my shift. And then you're starting your next day. There's no screws in the bin. You got to start your shift. Say it takes a half hour to fill a bin with screws. I'm making all this up, but it's a solid example. It's told to me by a very wise man who is telling me why nothing will ever be completely automated. The same for jobs. You take 6 months to train somebody because they need that experience to say, I do have a couple minutes now. I'll go fill up my water bottle. And having water is a right. You're allowed to keep yourself cool and hydrated. If you're going every 10 minutes, I can see why a boss would get upset with you. I'm not trying to teach disobedience here. I'm just saying it takes months really to get somebody into the rhythm. To walk into work, look around and say, it's a busy day, or look around and say, nothing's happening. Maybe I can write my prize-winning manuscript today during my downtime. And that's really the experience factor. I've seen this so many times. They bring somebody in, they train them for 2 weeks, and then they just cut them loose. And what happens with that? You get a lot of calls to the manager or the boss or the officer, whatever it is. It's better to give them a little bit longer. You're going to make them independent. You're going to make them take over. And that's what businesses realize. They say they're going to give you 2 weeks training, but it's going to be a while before you're truly independent. And they have to wrap that up in their budget. So it's not just as simple as putting an ad in the paper. We need help. That's why, you can do that, but then you have an environment like several fast food franchises where they have the sign up, always hiring. That's never a good sign. It is if you're desperate for a job and you don't mind taking a little bit of abuse. But the problem with it is, if you're always hiring, that means you're always expecting to get rid of people. And I've been with a few companies where they've employed that exact strategy. We're going to hire everybody and we're going to keep the good ones and get rid of the bad ones. But you still got to keep them around for a couple of weeks to figure, or a couple of months to figure out who's good and who's bad. Because some people can be very well behaved for a couple of weeks, a month or so, and then they start showing their tendencies. You can't make a judgment until you see those. And if you're doing so much turnover that you have jobs for everybody, well, I can tell you the first thing is there's only so many hours and so many miles that you can do in a given day in a given week. Yes, you get those workaholics like my father was, where he'd work constantly, but then his only time off was the weekend, or whatever his weekend would be. It took him years till he got to the seniority level where he could take his own shifts, and by then he just wanted quiet places. He didn't want to drive the Vomit Comet, which is what they nicknamed the Yonge Street bus in Toronto. But at the same token, he didn't want to be working midnights anymore. And he had to work to that level. Some people walk in and they're like, give me the best truck you have, give me the best seat you have, give me the best everything. I want it in day one. And you gotta say, hold on, there's people that have been here for a long, long time. And then there's the personality conflicts. You don't know who knows who, or what opinions they have of each other. I've mentioned a few of those stories on here. I'm not going to mention them again, but the same token, you can get two people show up at the same time and realize they work for the same company, and they had an incident across the street at a different company that you know nothing about, and they decide to pick up the tension, and you think it's a first-time incident. No, it isn't. These are all the factors companies have to think about it. And the scariest sign, like I said, is always hiring, or we are hiring everybody we can. I can't emphasize to you how bad that idea is. So there are good times coming. I'm optimistic about the slope to 2025, but I can't predict 2025 because it's March. In another 6 months, I'll make another update, 6 months-ish, because then I'll be able to see into March yet again. I think those are the best times of years because that's when you can see far enough ahead on what's going on the container orders to figure out, okay, here's where things are going long term. Like I said, the outcome isn't totally bleak. Don't lose hope. Still apply for jobs. You never know. I found some pretty good jobs in 2008. I left one because another one gave me another offer, which is why I said jobs. And right now things are tough. I admit it. But we're getting into September now. September, companies probably aren't going to rush to go hire. They might hire one or two. They might bring on temps because you don't know how long that peak is going to last. I understand. I've been there. And it sucks to have 10 guys at your door looking for work and you've only got 3 things to do. There's ways you can work around it. There's ways you can work with your union. But ultimately, it all comes down to how the management team works and how the economy works. So if you're looking for work, I wish you all the best of luck. I honestly do, because it sucks being unemployed. But I also hate to tell you this. It's rough everywhere right now. It will get better. September, October, and then after that we'll have to take a look. So with that, we wish to thank you for joining us for the Silverlight Show. If you enjoyed this show, please hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, share because sharing is caring. Click the icon down below for updates, because that way you'll get updated every single time we publish a new episode, and we hope you have a fantastic day.